Hi guys, Vitaly here with AFT Dispatch and A2C Logistics. Today's Sunday, just heading out to grab some coffee, do some work, meet with a good friend of mine, also a dispatcher here locally in Salt Lake City. And wanted to make this little setup in the car, and kind of gives me an opportunity to talk to you guys and make these videos that will hopefully, be useful to you. So what I primarily wanted to talk to you guys about today is really making changes. There's a lot of videos out there, in a motivational sphere of YouTube, Instagram, and just social media in general. And basically, in order for us to improve our life, we need to be able to make changes. And what that basically means is that we cannot be stagnant, right? Now, a lot of us are old enough to know this. A lot of us understand that we can't just sit around, doing the same thing, expecting different results. Plenty of memes have been made around that area, around that topic. But what I'm seeing from this sphere, truck dispatching, and leasing on owner operators, is that I get guys that call me that are trying to argue with me and basically tell me whether or not something is going to work or not, and whether or not something is legitimate or not, or if we can get such loads or not, or the rates that I'm talking about are legitimate or not. Yes, they are. We have plenty of people that are leased on. We have plenty of carriers that have signed up with us. The problem is that a lot of folks have a bitter taste, an aftertaste that's left, and the reason for it is because lots of trucking dispatch services popped up all over the place. They're all over Instagram, they're all over the internet. And when I started this back in the day, I went and talked to OIDA or OIDA. I met up with the Utah Trucking Association, and they basically told me that what I wanted to do was not doable, that I could not achieve and could not reach my goal of creating a truck dispatch service. And I still did it. What I ended up doing is I ended up writing up my agreement, taking it to a local attorney here in Salt Lake City. I believe it was the Rudd firm, and had to make it legal. Now, years have gone by, I actually find my agreement floating around all over the internet. Let me see if I can correct this camera. It keeps sliding over. Basically, guys, what I'm seeing is truck dispatchers have popped up all over the place. They've used my agreement, the one that I've painstakingly written out, have edited, have changed. And how I know is because we had specific verbiage put into there that is mine. And I put in there specifically for that reason. Now I'm finding it all over the place. Plus, some people didn't even bother to read the agreement because they didn't remove Salt Lake City, Utah from the agreement. And basically, they should have been more careful. You should probably, if you're going to steal someone's agreement, you probably should read the agreement and before taking the information. But in any case, there's dispatch services all over the place. Most of them don't know what they're doing. Unfortunately, I've spoken to a lot of these folks. They don't understand markets. They have never been in the trucking industry. They just find it to be easy money, or they thought it would be easy money. But if you're doing it right, it's not easy money. It never is easy money. And the reason for it is because you got to understand, you have to understand markets. You have to be out there early in the morning. You actually have to understand where you're taking a guy, where you're sending him, and if that rate is correct. You have to be able to negotiate that deal. You need to be able to keep the broker busy, get their mind busy. You have to understand, the commodity that you're moving. You have to understand, what are you going to do when that person comes back, is done and unloads. How are you going to work with these things? Are you pricing this? Are you providing the same pricing for a load of lawn chairs versus a load of a truckload of beef or something like that for reefer guys? Obviously, one's going to have a lot more value, and there's a lot more liability on the carrier's end. And so there's lots of things that go into this And unfortunately, a lot of these people don't know what they're doing, and they're kind of like, you know, practicing with carriers. And then when those carriers realize that they've been kind of owned, and I just had a slick salesperson who basically told them that they, you know, we're going to make them lots of money or whatnot, and we're going to do this to make your life easier. And then they didn't. They just lost a bunch of money in the process. Well, at that point, you know, they leave them, and though it's a lot more difficult for a legitimate service such as our service to be able to gain the trust of that client once again. And so that makes it a really, really problematic. And you know, and in the past I used to sign up, you know, 1 to 3 carriers a day for truck dispatch services, running at 10%. Now we're at 7%, and I don't sign up that many people in a day. I mean, sometimes I still do sign up a good number of people, but you know, the numbers are different. It's a lot more convincing, and I find that you know, the issues that people bring up, the objections that are brought up, are actually, you know, they begin to repeat. They begin to repeat, and it's basically, hey, I've been with a dispatch service. They didn't do anything for me. They just created more problems for me. So a lot of that can happen, you know, and it sucks because we have to deal with it. But the bottom line is that you have to be able to make those changes, even in this market when there's all these truck dispatch services. You know, if you don't try them out, you won't know if they're good or bad, or what the problem is. You know, maybe they are really good, you know, because I'm not saying that we're the only good service out there. Like a friend of mine that I'm going to be meeting right now, he was so good that another friend of ours, who's a owner of a small fleet of trucks, he actually said, listen, I'll give you a piece of my company. What you're going to have to do is move out, take your family, move from Idaho, come out to Salt Lake, get yourself a place, and I will, you know, run this, you know, I'll give you a piece of the business if you dispatch all my trucks and help me run my business. And that's what he did. And he's an excellent, you know, dispatcher, and he knows the business. He's a lot more than just a dispatcher. He does a lot for them. And so that's kind of the bottom line. But, you know, not everyone's like that. And, you know, you'd be lucky to have a guy like that, and he recognized it, and that's why he offered him a piece of the business and brought him to Salt Lake to live here. But, you know, not everyone's going to be like this. And so it's really important to be able to try people out. And see, with a company like ours, our agreement, the way I look at it is, if you don't want to work with me, if you don't want to work with my company, then we don't want to work with you either. And if, you know, if we can't find a common ground, and if we're not doing a good enough job and we've tried to improve and it's still not working for whatever reason, if we have issues, then you need to be able to you know, take off and leave. And I shouldn't be holding you back by keeping a contract of any sort and saying that, keeping, you know, fire under your feet and saying that, oh, you know, you owe us money otherwise, or there's a weekly charge. So with us, there's no weekly charges. Our agreements have no terms. So in terms of, you know, there are no time-based terms, like you're not signing up with us for a year or whatnot. So, and I've seen a lot of that, you know, I've seen a lot of that. And again, it's just slick salespeople. So with us, give us a try. Yeah, there's a setup process. It's a very quick and easy setup process. Yes, there is going to be, you know, some documentation that we'll need from you. Obviously, it's the same documents that we'll need in order to book loads, just like you would when you were booking loads. Yes, we're going to need to get, you know, driver information. We'll need phone numbers, truck and trailer numbers, the VIN numbers, you know, ELD access. You know, if you factor your loads, we need to get into your factory, be able to take care of your invoicing, right? So there are all these things, but they're all necessary. They're all necessary. I mean, we're looking at ELDs to make sure we don't bother you with broker calls and check-ins, and make sure we don't book out loads for you guys that aren't even like pricing out loads that may not even be, you know, possible or feasible with your the remainder of your hours. So there are different reasons for all these things, but they're all necessary, and that's why we basically request this information. But anyway, I hope this video is helpful to you in bringing some, you know, light into this. Yes, there are lots of dispatch companies out there. Yes, there are lots of you know, companies out there who claim to be, you know, excellent at what they do, and you know, claim to be, you know, amazing dispatchers or provide an amazing service, and maybe they do. But a lot of the ones that I've talked to, especially the ones that are dealing with hotshots, which I personally think is a waste of time, but ultimately they are the companies that are actually hurting the chances of really good companies that are out there. Oh, there we go. Hit some snow. But guys, bottom line is, get set up with us. aftdispatch.com/go. Whether you're a carrier or an owner operator, 801-448-6363 extension 2. You'll reach me or one of my other guys. We have a full service truck dispatch service. Been doing it since 2011. Guys, we know trucking. We know trucking. I run my own trucks. My partner runs his own trucks. We have another MC that has lots and lots of trucks under our MC. We have full dispatch service. We have our admin, our compliance, our safety, our ELD people, billing and invoicing. I mean, we have a full company with 3 offices nationwide. This is not a fly by night, work from the basement of your home, dispatch 5 or 6 trucks, and just basically order takers. We're interested in making more money for you, so that that we can make more money for ourselves. And we have lots of people that we have to pay salaries to, commissions, and we don't want to get rid of anyone. So this is why we're so aggressive about obtaining new carriers and new owner operators. So get in touch with me again, Vitaly, AFT Dispatch, A2C Logistics Co. 801-448-6363 extension 1, aftdispatch.com/go, and I have all the info in the description box and the video on Instagram when this makes it. I'll make sure it's all in the comment section. Anyway, take care. Have a good one.